see him, but I don't hear him. Oh,
Mic check. Mic check.
yeah. I hear you.
How are the volumes?
Sounds good.
Roger that.
Do I sound good to you?
Yeah. You look beautiful.
Oh, thanks. You look great with your long flowing locks.
I'm growing it out again before I go bald.
Hey, cheers, by the way, huh?
Cheers, indeed.
So, you even have a green screen, so I can, replace your background with some really cool shit.
Yep, whatever you want to replace it with.
Oh, shoot.
If you want to put Duke Nukem 3D back there, feel free.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. No.
Thank you.
This is Doom. Doom.
Yeah? Doom.
So, I can't remember if I actually sent you any questions that I would ask you.
No, but I went through and I replayed everything.
Yes.
And I took notes for every level.
Oh, hell yeah,
and
dude.
some other stuff, so...
That's awesome.
I'm prepared.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I'm going to pull up... My face is going to get really bright for a second. I'm going to pull up some questions that I asked the last dude, who was actually also a fan of the mod. And we'll go from there. Hopefully the beer doesn't make me burp.
If it does, all the better.
Okay. I'm going to copy these to a notepad so I'm not constantly pulling that up.
That's exactly what I did.
Nice. All right.
Speaking of not burping.
Yeah, right. I'm going to add a question here that I forgot to ask him. Okay. Oh, I have to rename your... I have to get the recording named. Bicycle of Death. AngryKidJoe. You're not so much a kid anymore.
Nope, not so much.
All right, so I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to answer, and I will try to let you talk, but I'm not a seasoned interviewer, and I might jump in and tell my own stories or whatever.
I'm taking it like a conversation.
Cool. Well, why don't you tell us your name and any screen names you might want to throw out there?
Currently, I go under Bicycle of Death because of a past with BMX and death metal. Before that, I was known as AngryKidJoe for probably about a decade because I was angry and tiny, and my real name is Joseph.
You're not tiny anymore, man.
No, I used to be scrawny.
Wow. It's really awesome to talk with you. Like, we literally go back over 17 years, which is insane to think about. So, how about you give a little background on yourself, your gaming background, how you came upon our mod?
I started gaming in the late 90s with NES, and it was the game Wizards and Warriors that got me into it. In the 90s, we ended up getting a hand-me-down computer from a relative because my dad needed to start using the internet because he was an owner-operator trucker, and he hired my mom as his secretary. And I ended up getting Doom, the shareware version, when it was first released, and installing it and playing it, I screwed up the computer so bad, and I had to learn how to repair it before Dad got home and I got in mega trouble. And from there, I always went back to Doom. There were some gaps, but I always went back to Doom. In the late 90s, I was playing a lot of Infinity Engine games, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale. In the early 2000s, the double aughts, I was a forum moderator for Black Isle Studios until they closed their doors, and from there I kind of I didn't know what to play. I ended up getting into World of Warcraft. When Doom 3 came out, I didn't have a rig that would run it very well, and there were a lot of people that didn't. I remember when the alpha leaked, people were trying to get it to run, and they'd get it to run at 2 to 5 frames per second, and it was a big deal.
It was rough.
When Doom 3 came out, I didn't actually get to play it on PC. I played it on Xbox beforehand, and eventually I ended up getting a better job, and I bought my first real rig, things that weren't hand-me-down parts or anything like that. And I ended up coming across the classic Doom 3 mod. I think I saw an article on Doom World, and at the time I think I was also trying to build a website, a mini website called Doom Hardcore that was hosting deathmatch maps, but people were already doing that, but I was by myself and I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to do something. And there was also a gentleman, I cannot remember his name, but he wanted to start a mapping project called Sanguinius, and that was about the same time, and I was going to help out mapping, but I never actually figured out how to map because I couldn't get doors to work because I'm an idiot.
Oh man.
And classic Doom 3 caught my attention, and I can't remember if it was simultaneous or if it was a couple years later or not, but there was also something called the Dark Project that started off as a Doom 3 mod that was essentially a continuation of the Thief games. And going between these two mods, like I just got my love for gaming back, or PC gaming back, because I had my first real rig before that. I think the best computer I had maybe had a Voodoo 3, but we're talking about like 3rd or 4th generation NVIDIA cards after 3DFX. I think it was 3DFX split up into AMD and NVIDIA, or ATI. I don't remember.
I don't remember it either. I'm too old.
But there's just so much about classic Doom 3 that I remembered, and that came back to me after playing through it again, and it really opened up my eyes to what it takes to actually develop a game. Before, I was a kid, I was like, oh, they can just draw a new map and it's no big deal. How come they can't fix these bugs? And just understanding what it took the dev team even to get the chain gun in the game.
Oh yeah,
I remember when the chain gun wasn't even in the beta, and we were still using the machine gun. And then when they added the model for it, the rotation, it was just so wonderful to use. And I'm going off on a tangent. And that's
perfect. It's perfect.
That's my history with gaming up to the point of Doom 3. Now I was a Ubisoft Star Player for Tom Clancy's The Division. Got into streaming on Twitch, and The Division 2 came out, and my passion for the Division series just went.
Yeah.
And so now I've been streaming horror games, kind of lost, trying to find my space.
Did you ever get into Doom 2016?
Yes, I loved Doom 2016. There were some things that I really didn't like about it. I feel that Doom 2016, and more so Doom Eternal, left out the horror factor. The original Doom 2, they even when we take a look at the music, there were some horror tracks or some ambient tracks that really brought the horror mood to the game. Whereas Doom 2016 and Eternal is just like, oh yeah, let's make everything metal, which you think would be awesome. But Doom is so much more than, listening to heavy metal and shooting demons, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I remember the first time walking into Phobos Anomaly and the doors opening up and having those two barons. That was terrifying. Hearing the stomps of the cyber demon for the first time was terrifying, and the music helped with that. It wasn't just heavy metal. Not to discredit Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, but
I think I never played Eternal, and I probably only got 4 or 5 hours into Doom 2016 because I only had it. I didn't have a decent PC rig until I think last year. I was still using like a 15-year-old computer, so I only have it on the PS4. So I can't play first-person shooters on joysticks. It just doesn't work for me.
Don't try Doom on the Switch. It seems like a good idea when you're away from home, but that was difficult. I like 2016. I think the combat in it was very Doom-esque, but I think Doom Eternal deviated a little too much from the Doom formula for me to like it. It's probably fantastic for newer generations, but I just want to shoot demons and watch them blow up. I don't need to, be playing weapon swap Super Mario, and it's just weird. I like being able to use a shotgun. Give me ammo for it so I can kill demons.
Right. Well, the thing I did like about the Doom 2016 was, you actually had a decent melee attack. Mm-hmm. The one my biggest knock on Doom 3 was that when an enemy hits you, you get your head knocked back.
Oh, and, the flinch.
I'm not so much a fan of that.
Not only would you flinch, but they actually added the motion blur with it, so it made it even worse. Your eyes don't do that. Yeah,
and your vision gets all bloody, and you're like, yeah.
My biggest gripe with Doom 3 is also one of my favorite aspects of classic Doom 3, the mod, and that's Doom 3's shotgun. It's Doom 3's biggest failure, in my opinion. I won't even complain about the flashlight, but the fact that you can stand right in front of the enemy and fire the vanilla shotgun at it, and the pellets can spread around it. They won't actually come out of the barrel and hit your target. Whereas in classic Doom 3, they revamped the shotgun so it actually works like a shotgun would in a video game or in real life. But I don't understand. To this day, I actually tried going back and playing Doom 3, and I was just cursing out the shotgun. It is the worst element of Doom 3. How dare you, id?
Yeah, I mean, it's the boomstick. How can you get the shotgun wrong? So what's new information to me is I didn't realize you were following the mod so early. Did you sign up on the forums that early, too, like when you were playing the alpha?
I did sign up on the forums, but I was never actually an official beta tester or anything. I was a fan, and that's something where I've kind of stood in with gaming and even other artistic elements like horror movies and stuff. I'm in even heavy metal music. I'm a fan. I understand the elements and the intricacies, but when it comes to the talent to actually create something, I'll leave it to people that put in the time.
Oh God, the guys doing those levels, I have nothing but praise for them for what they were able to do on our mod. Like, I used to make levels for games. I have a level that's out there for Quake that I put out between high school and college. And it's relatively small because it's literally all the time I had. Like, I just wanted to release a level, finally.
Yeah.
And it's, so rudimentary compared to what they do now.
I still... I think it was last year I went and I tried playing with Doomcad and tried to get a door to work. And I still can't do it. I watched tutorials and it wouldn't work. It would end up glitching the level, and I threw in the towel. I'll play video games. I'll let other people make them.
Yeah, I just don't have time for it anymore. I might be able to figure it out, but I do not have time. I spent so many months of my teen years editing levels, and I never released. I released one.
But you did hit it on the head that what was it? Flaming Sheep was the team.
Yeah.
The level design was so good because they took the 1.5D that didn't have room over room. It only had 90-degree vertices.
Yep.
There were no angles.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when you played the game, they added that in a lot of aspects, but where they changed some of the maps, like in the hangar, when you go into that secret area and there's that pit with a slime with the blue armor in it. It's actually a pit, and I remember playing it, and it wasn't just a drop down. It actually transitioned there, and I was like, hey, there's actual terrain, but it played like Doom, and it was a nice blend of classic Doom and modern gaming. And I think classic Doom 3 is probably one of the prime examples of what an action horror shooter should be. I haven't played anything that's even touched it. I'm actually kind of hoping Scorn might have a little, but it's looking like that's going to be more of a first-person horror survival game.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to look at my list of questions, and I think a lot of these I'm going to throw out because I know, like, you just said how you came across the mod. I know you followed the development because I remember you posting all the time. You just mentioned you played it recently. Okay, so I'm going to throw those questions out. And I want to know, you're probably the most prepared a person that I've interviewed. And so I'm kind of wondering what your thoughts are. So you said you took notes on all the levels. And, man, I would just love, you just want to go through those? We can just talk. I'm totally cool with that.
So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to go through my notes, and I'm just going to go through my notes.
Yeah, and I'll preface his notes by saying, Joseph, whatever, he was posting on our forums when we were developing the mod all the time. Like, he practically was like the 13th member of the cdoom team. And so much so that it was memorable for me, and when he contacted me years later, I knew exactly who he was. So, all right, now he's going to talk.
Oh, shucks. First of all, the intro video to Classic Doom 3, when you go back and look at the other intro videos to actual AAA studio games at the time, like you could tell that it was a smaller studio / fan base doing it, but it was still on that professional level. And you even have the voice acting where it was significantly better than the original Resident Evil game. And then when they're talking about they're going to need another volunteer with a portal, and then the general or the commander that's speaking to the Marines, he expresses what happened, and you have the Marine in the background going, "This is bullshit."
Oh yeah,
and it gets you because there's just that little bit of cheese in there, but it's also believable at the same time. And the game, the intro video prefaces the game on what little story there actually was. So you have this 5-10 minute video that is hyping you up as you're going into the game. And then before you go into the hangar, which everybody knows at Doom's Gate, which was has elements of Metallica, Dokken, Overkill, DRI, Suicidal Tendencies. You have all these fantastic high-speed bands that's just injected into your veins, and then the door opens, and then boom, you're in E1, M1. And the most memorable aspect of that was finally getting the shotgun that wasn't Doom 3's shotgun, so it didn't suck. It actually felt like Doom's shotgun. And the audio design to it, when you call it a boomstick, it actually boomed. And another element that Classic Doom 3 added was the shell casings dropping. And you had the brass for the traditional firearms with bullets, but then with a shotgun, you have the plastic shells that would fall to the ground, and it just sounded so good. The immersion it pulled you right in. And with E1M1 being so classic, the Flaming Sheep did a fantastic job, not just ripping the map off, because I think there were other mods at the time where people were just importing the Doom maps in.
Yep.
But they were making them their own. They were adding little elements of flair in E1M1 just after that acid pit. And the acid pit itself had that honeycomb texture there, and it broke off on those honeycombs. It wasn't just a straight line. And not only that, something further into the game, there were actually jumping puzzles, which Doom didn't have because it didn't have a jumping button. But to actually avoid some of the acid damage, you could get involved with these jumping puzzles. And that's another thing that Classic Doom 3, the cdoom 3 team did very well, is Doom 3 natively had a jump button. And they didn't remove it. They just worked with it. There's secrets in the game that you still can't access because of a jump button. There's barriers in the way, and they have creative ways around it. And I can't remember what map it was when I first noticed that, but it was around Computer Station, I think. And actually, yeah, I have it in my notes. Computer Station. They have the clever workarounds with Doom 3's jumping mechanic, as well as the jumping puzzles.
Which one is Computer Station? I only know them by the numbers. Is that E1M4?
M7.
Oh, okay.
It's the one where they have... speaking of Computer Station, it is one of the better non-metal... in my opinion, one of the better non-metal tracks. It's Demons on the Prey, and that was inspired by Candlemass, which is a doom metal band, and it fits perfect. It just fits so perfect. And there's actually a track in Phobos Lab, E1M5, Suspense, which was inspired by Susie and the Banshees and The Cure, and someone else, I can't remember who it was. But when I first watched The Matrix, there's a track in there called Club to Death by Rob D. It sounds like it's lifted straight from Doom.
Huh.
And that level, they first introduced the invisible pinkies, and they didn't have the fuzz effect with them. They were actually translucent, and it was actually very difficult to see them, especially in the room before the exit that is normally pitch black, and then it would flash bright every once in a while. And there's that secret with the light goggles, and Classic Doom 3 didn't have an auto map, and it didn't have light goggles. And the auto map's not really that big of a deal, but the no light goggles, that was something that I was curious how it was going to be handled when I got into the map, because I didn't remember there being any light goggles. We just had the flashlight, so I was wondering...
Which we took out.
Yeah, I was wondering, there's no flashlight in here, so how is this room gonna operate? And the room was dark, but it was still visible, but it was really difficult to see the invisible pinkies. But then you also had the demons in these, not cryo chambers, but like liquid chambers.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just being kept alive, or they were building them or whatever. And it was just something straight out of a horror movie. And that map didn't have...
That map at the end scares the shit out of me. It did in the original Doom, and it does in our mod. I get through that as fast as I can. I don't know what it is about that room, but it scares the shit out of me.
It's the claustrophobia. Everything's just not so much in the mod, but in the original game, it was dark and everything was close together, and you could run around in circles.
Yeah.
and they're wondering where to go, you'd come back out through the entrance, be like, "What the hell? Where am I supposed to go?" I really like that map. It's a good one. The one map in Knee Deep in the Dead that I absolutely hate is Central Processing. And that's the one that was taken out of the Super Nintendo, which I played it in the shareware version on PC, but the first time I ever actually beat Doom was on the Super Nintendo, and I was so glad that they took it out. I don't know what it is about that map. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I'll have to look up which one that is.
It is E1M6. It's really big.
Yeah.
There's a lot of open space. It's the one in the mod. There's this. It's almost done like a bunch of lanes going through. Originally, it's a bunch of lanes going through sewer tunnels with acid.
Yeah.
But in the mod, they did it up like they used a lot of hell textures and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's actually the map where they put a little Easter egg for Flaming Sheep and someone else who helped with the game, and I don't remember who it was.
That was Blaster. Blaster made that one.
Blaster. Yep. There we go. But, everybody did such a good job on the game, and that also brings me to going in order, kind of, even though we jumped around. E1M2 nuclear plant. Not only do all of your tracks rip, like it just starts up, dun. No, that's not dun, dun. I'm thinking the wrong one. There we go. I love it. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, dude.
The chainsaw.
Oh, yeah.
The chainsaw fan service in E1M2, I cannot give enough props to the team. When you get to that, after you go through the rave room maze with all the flashing lights, just getting up there, and normally the chainsaw secret is pretty boring. You just go up there, it winds up in a little staircase, and then you press a button, it drops the chainsaw down after you kill some enemies. But in the mod, spoiler alert if you haven't played the mod, you interact with a computer screen, and it ends up going through this elaborate animation of not really spawning the chainsaw, but unlocking it. Like, it lowers it, and then there's some other stuff that opens up, and then when you get it, there's an audio clip in there that says, "Chainsaw, find some meat," and then it just spawns some enemies that aren't seen anywhere else in the mod. It's just some zombie scientists that have a melee attack, and I think there's 4 or 6 of them, and you just go through and you just rip them to shreds with your chainsaw.
Hell yeah.
And I was so hyped when I got to that part. I was like, this is fucking awesome. And playing the map the first couple times, like, it was pretty basic. The chainsaw was just there. But going from one of the releases to the revamped releases was breathtaking. It was one of my favorite moments in gaming. One of my other favorite moments was probably back in the early 2000s or late 90s when Medal of Honor released the Spearhead mod, and you jump out of the plane, and they have the 88s just blowing up all the planes around you, and you're just floating down all slowly. That got my adrenaline going, but
I forgot about that.
The chainsaw fan service is just hats off. Hats off to the mod team.
Yeah, that was
it was so good.
Kazahana, if that's how no one knows how to pronounce his name. Andy Stanton. I'll go with that.
Good job, Andy.
Yeah, good job, Andy. He was the initiator, founder of the mod, and he did E1M1, E1M2, and E1M7, and he was the original person to go into the config file and like adjust the spread on the shotgun and take out the reloading, and yeah. He was the one to really initiate the whole thing.
It's so good. It's so good.
I was a fan. I was a fan before I joined the team, man. I was exactly. Yeah, I played it December of 2004. December of 2004, I played the 0.2 alpha, and I was just freaking blown away.
I don't think I even played the alpha. I think it was when I was playing World of Warcraft at the same time, and I was building my computer to actually handle Warcraft, because I got tired of all my friends saying how awesome it was. And so I was like, well, I want to play Doom 3 and I want to play World of Warcraft. And then that's when I don't even think I played through Doom 3 first. I think I ended up playing classic Doom 3. And I'm still very thankful that I did. It's the perfect marriage between classic Doom and modern Doom. And it would be really nice that if we got another official Doom release, that I would actually hope that they would take some inspiration from classic Doom 3 and take out less of the really technical mechanics from Eternal and add more of an action horror crossover with heavy metal and horror ambient music as well.
Right. So what about E1M3?
E1M3. Again, that was a lovely marriage between metal and having horror elements in the soundtrack. That was also a really fun level design. The level design to Nuclear Plant, like if there was ever a building that was ever constructed like that, people would wonder what the hell's wrong with the architect.
Yeah, right.
This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And one of the fun things about Classic Doom 3 is that the level designers tried to make these fun level designs make sense, but they didn't butcher the arcade feel to it. When you start off in E1M3, you can go to the left, and there's a bunch of corridors there, and I remember seeing a lot of technical textures and builds and stuff like that, things that would just like if you were in a nuclear plant.
Right.
And the secrets in there were really cool. When you went to get the not the Megasphere, the Soul Sphere, the blue one, you went through some catacombs that had spider webs, which you didn't see anywhere else in the game at that point, I don't believe. And you kind of felt like Indiana Jones. You felt like you were in a legitimate secret. And then there's the rocket launcher area where you go through the sewers. There was, I think that was the first jumping puzzle. Not really a jumping puzzle in the game, but you're running through the acid. And to mitigate some of the damage, you jump onto some stone that was there to prevent you from dying. That was also the entrance to the secret level. And I think the first time that I actually played through the entire E1M3 map in Classic Doom was when I just replayed it. Because usually I just went to the secret level.
Yeah.
The secret level has my second favorite track and it's really hard to rate the tracks in the game. And we'll get to my favorite track eventually. But Military Base, and I think it was Thump Monk who did that track. And the track title for that one is Hiding in Secrets, and it has the drum beat from an Alice in Chains song.
Oh, yeah?
I really like the fact, I really like the fact that there was a deviation from the original game for the level design. Not the level design, but some of the elements, like the final secret in there, where there's usually those elevating platforms that you had to try to run onto, and then you'd fall off and get pissed off, and you'd have to do it all over again. You just crouched into what would probably be like an open air duct, and you'd go into this room. There was just a ladder, and you'd climb upstairs on the second tier. And it was just, I was so relieved that I didn't have to deal with elevating platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why there was that deviation, but I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
But that is one map that pissed me off more than any other map in the mod. And the reason being is because of the damn blue key location.
Oh.
In the game, normally the blue key is just floating there. In the mod, it's in the exact same spot, except there's a shelf on the wall, and the blue key card's laying on that shelf. So here I am wondering what's going on. I wasn't... I didn't even look at the shelf because I'm so used to playing the Doom level where there weren't any shelves. Things were just there and you'd see them. So I'm running all over the map for probably about 40 minutes trying to figure out where the hell the blue key was. And then when I found it, and I just sat there and called myself an idiot. And I was like, this makes so much sense. It's clever because it's Doom 3 and keys don't just float in midair.
Right. It totally does.
And
I'll have a word with Gaz for you.
That map was the first one that I actually noticed the enemy AI difference. Usually they died really fast beforehand, but I felt that map was the one where you were swarmed by more enemies in open areas, where you actually got to see the enemies fighting back with each other, which was actually in the mod 2, which was really cool. And to this day, I think that a bug still exists in military base where you cannot get above 0% secrets. At least I haven't. I've got all the secrets.
Interesting.
But at the menu screen, it'll just show 0%. Unless I'm doing something wrong.
No, it's probably you're probably right on. Cannot get above 0% secrets. As per Joseph. Interesting. I probably didn't notice that because I wasn't like an official tester, even though every member of the team was testing. But man, I can't believe no one noticed that. That's gonna bug. That's gonna bug Gaz. He's gonna want to do a re-release now.
Yeah, I played it when I recently played it, and I beat the level, and it showed 0% secrets. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And then I went back and played the level again, and I made sure I got all the secrets. I didn't run around in the entire area, and I think there's only 2 secrets in that map. There's the little corner, the 2 rooms that drops down into the acid pit, and I think the or the chain guns there, and then the one in the final room with the exit switch that had the elevating platforms. But
well, if we're gonna have a bug on a level, the secret one is probably the one to have it on.
Yeah, the best one, the ones that new players might not be able to find.
Yeah,
and that was actually the hardest secret level for me to find in the original 3 episodes. Just the... I'm actually trying to remember how to do it. I'm sure if I went back and played it, I'd do it just fine. But
yeah, there's a slightly different color of the wall on the right side of that one leading to the real exit. It was getting the platform to raise up to jump the acid pool into the door that would just open. I was thinking the wrong one. Yeah, I don't remember how the original is either.
And then that leads us to episode 1, mission 4, which is command control. and that track title is Kitchen Ace, which was inspired by Pantera, and I just like that map. It's I don't have anything special to say about it. It was a pleasure to play through. One of my favorite aspects of playing through that map was actually your use of pitch harmonics, also known as guitar squealies.
Hell yeah!
Glad
you noticed.
I love playing that, and every time I know it's coming for a guitar squealy, I'm just doing a little air guitar. I love it.
Yeah, I love
Absolutely
because it's got those breaks, and then the drums do their fill.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't help it. I had to do them.
It was a nice addition to the original MIDI music. The MIDI music is good. It's catchy. Bobby Prince did a fantastic job, but with your covers and remixes of them, it was just that they are really, really good. And I will let you know how good they are once we start talking about Phobos Anomaly.
Right. Yeah. I know where you're going with that.
Yep. And then there's Episode 1, Mission 5, which is Phobos Lab. And we already talked about that track, Suspense, Rob D's Club to Death, which I think is lifted 100% from it. That was the first level that I noticed that there was additional audio clips in the game. And where I noticed that was... I'm trying to remember how the level goes. All the way to the left, when you first start, there's that room that has the 2 elevators, and then there's a wall, and then there's a toxic pit in the middle, and then there's 2 elevating platforms there and a secret there where you have to run over, flip the switch, and then you can go back there, and then there's items there, and then across from the switch on the other side of the wall, there's a secret to get outside. But on those elevating platforms inside the toxin, there's actual little piston noises and hisses and stuff like that. And when I was playing that, I thought I was in the Alien game. Like, I ended up having flashbacks from Alien Trilogy and then from Aliens and Alien. And that's when how good the horror element that Doom 3 provides that the CD3 team utilized to make classic Doom just married that action and horror so well together. And it's really fitting that the secret in there is again, you're in there and it looks like a nuclear plant. It looks like a lab. But then they have that secret in there, which is the first time I recall seeing the hell textures. And one of Doom 3's highlights, for me, is it has the best rendition of hell out of any of the Dooms.
Yeah.
Sure, 2016 looks really good. Doom Eternal still looks really good, if not a little bit cartoony. But Doom 3's hell was legitimately terrifying. And going in there, and there's that portal in the middle of the room that has gates around it, and normally that portal would take you back to the start of the level, I think. But there's also... Is there a portal in there?
Yeah,
in the original map?
Yeah, I think there was. I don't remember where it takes you, but I'm pretty sure there was a portal in there.
That's also the first map where you get the Berserker Pack. And how that game gives you the Berserker Pack for the first time that I recall is they have that cage in there with a pentagram on the ground. And I don't recall seeing a Berserker Pack in there. I thought that was the portal. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the level and finish out. And the cage locks, and my screen gets blurry around the edges, and my character starts raging and hearing these hellish screams. And I'm 38 years old, and that terrified me again. I was like, this is awesome. Yes. What's happening? I completely didn't realize that I picked up a Berserker Pack. And then it switched to the fists, and I was like, oh yeah, I got the Berserker Pack. So then I started punching everything, and then they die, and then instead of gibbing, the Doom 3 animation just fizzled them away, which is a little bit of a bummer on the Doom 3 aspect, but I understand the technological limitations about having corpses and stuff on the screen when you have a bunch of lighting. And then there's E1M6 central processing. I don't like that level. I don't want to talk about it. I'm glad it's left out of other Doom games.
I would have to agree that it's probably one of the weakest in the shareware, mm-hmm. and there's probably a reason it was late in the shareware episode.
Yeah,
I like my track for it. Okay,
it is. On the Hunt is a good track. It has excellent music to it, but it seems like there's a lot of long hallways.
Yeah.
That lead to rooms. Like I feel like I spend way too much time going through a long hallway than doing anything else.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite aspects of the Doom version, or the PlayStation version of Doom, is that was one of the levels where on Ultraviolence they natively added some of the Doom 2 enemies in it.
Oh.
And that was kind of fun. But then you have E1M7 Computer Station, Demons on the Prey, which was inspired by Candlemass and probably some other bands in there, but I remember Candlemass standing out because it's not a traditional metal track. It's Candlemass is a doom metal band, so that just fits so well. And that's the one where I fully realized the clever workarounds with Doom 3's jumping mechanic and the jumping puzzles in it. It was just a fun map. It has great atmosphere. It's one of those. I wish I could hype it up more, but it's just one of those where it does everything well, where you're just complimenting stuff that's happened in the other maps. And it's like the opposite of beating a dead horse. It's like consistently giving your teammate a high five, like, good job, guy. Oh, by the way, good job. Hey, good job. So a superb map, but there was... I don't want to sit here and just completely compliment the same stuff over and over and over again. Just very well done. And then that leads us to Phobos Anomaly, which has the absolute best track in classic Doom 3. And if there's anybody that argues, I'll respect their decision, but they're wrong. I remember after a while, like aside from playing it, I remember going on YouTube many years later, and people were still commenting on it. Like there were new comments on it. There were people that wanted a how-to video on it, and I think that was inspired by people saying that you weren't actually playing it or something like that.
Is that why I did it? Because I did a lead guitar video on it, and then I never followed up with the rhythm guitar one.
And it's so good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. It's my favorite. It's my favorite in there.
It's a track that I will actively seek out just to listen to for no reason whatsoever. Like I'll be driving in my vehicle and I'll pull over and I'll be like, I'm gonna quick pull this up on YouTube because I don't think I had Spotify at the time, and I don't even know if it's on Spotify.
It is. I put it on.
But I would just thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
I would just hit play and then just repeat and then just keep driving. And I drive a lot for work.
Yeah.
So that track has, if it was a cassette tape, I would have wore it out. No question. No question. Again, you had pitch harmonics in there, which are fucking awesome. And that map, not only is the track good, but as small as that map is, again, the classic Doom 3 team nailed it. You have that epic intro where you're actually coming down the elevator. The only other map that had an intro to it that I recall was E1M1, and that had an intro video leading into the map. But this one, you're hearing that music, and you know what's coming if you played Doom before, but you don't know how good the music's going to be. And the door opens, and then your ears are just blessed with this awesome guitar, this slow, elegant, yet brutal guitar. And then you see all these pinkies there surrounded by these barrels, and in unison you just have this guttural roar, and you just let a shotgun fire, the whole room blows up.
Hell yeah.
Again, you just still have that track. It's almost like a gaming crescendo. Like you know something badass is going to happen, but everything's just still on edge, and you're just waiting for it to break. And something that really helps the atmosphere with that is the black and yellow warning textures that was picked out for the map, which did not exist to my knowledge, in the original Doom, and at least not on that map. So you have these colors that are used as warnings in nature, like, hey, something bad's here. And of course, if you played Doom before, you know about the two barons, the mini boss battle there, and it's just so good when you go down the stairwell and you have those two rooms, which the level designer did them up to look like an armory, so they're stacking you for this boss battle. And again, you have that music. The music, everything else was already a 10 for this map. The music doesn't even turn it up to 11. It's at like 21. And then I'm going to shorthand the rest of it. You end up going through the boss fight, and then you go through the portal, and normally in the shareware version of the game, you would just end up spawning, and regardless if you had IDDQD on, you'd take damage and eventually die. And I was expecting that when I got in there, but the game ended. I believe some credits rolled for a little bit, and then you went through this weird intestine portal, which I thought was really cool. And then it had the outro video. And that outro video is filled with like 80s action cheese. And it had the voice overlay of the endgame screen, which it just I can't think of a better way to actually end the mod. You start off with an intro video, you have an outro video, and the original Doom, the only story that you know about is if you read the instruction manual. Otherwise, when you start up the game, it's just like, go kill demons, here you go. You have no idea why you're there. You would actually have to read the physical instruction manual to figure out why the hell you're there in the first place.
Which no one did.
Or the back of the box. No, nobody did that.
Right.
And it was just good. And the final line in the dialogue, as well as the written text on the original endgame screen, is the only way out is through. And Nine Inch Nails actually wrote an entire song about that, and it ended up in a AAA action movie. I think it might have been a Marvel Comics movie. I can't remember which one it was, but I ended up hearing it, and I associate that track with Doom. It was on the Fragile. And that kind of synergy there is just you have this one game that came out in 1993 and just completely took the world by storm, and it's so deep rooted. Like even meeting people now that are approximately my age, like hearing their stories about how they first started playing Doom and where they are now it's neat. Yeah. It's very neat. like where we experienced a very significant part of gaming history. Like we were alive for that.
Oh, and all through the 90s, like id Software they were just king all through the 90s because they went from Doom 2 to, was it Quake, and then Quake 2, Quake 3. Like, dude, no one could touch them in the 90s, and we all lived through that. And if like Half-Life was in there.
Yep. If anybody even got close to touching them, I mean, Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warrior had the build engine, which I'll give them that. But it wasn't near as popular as Doom or Quake. And all of the other games after Quake came out, they just used the engine. Like they were utilizing the Quake engine or a modified Quake 2 engine, like Half-Life. I even think the original Unreal was on a modified version of the Quake 2 engine. So id Software just knocked it out of the park. And then you have classic Doom 3, which was a perfect marriage of classic Doom and Doom 3. I can't think of a better title than classic Doom 3, because that's exactly what it is. And then you have a soundtrack that was that Bobby Prince took a lot of inspiration from, like a wide variety of bands. Some other ones that we haven't mentioned yet. You had Helmet, which is kind of power metal. You have Body Count, which is rap metal with Ice-T. Pantera was mentioned, so you have some heavy metal there. But the Beatles and Joy Division were also inspirations for some of the audio tracks. And the only thing I wish I could have seen with classic Doom 3 and the whole reason why it didn't happen is because they were only able to make the shareware levels for legal reasons, I believe. But Episode 3, Mission 3, Pandemonium, it opens up with pretty much a direct lift from Slayer's Behind the Crooked Cross.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there's times where I will literally boot up Doom just to get to that level, just to replay that level again. But reiterating to everything that I said, classic Doom 3 was an eye opener of what really went into game development. And being surrounded by other fans. I think I signed up to be a beta tester, but I think I just ended up playing with it, and most of my posts were like, "This is awesome! This is awesome, guys!" And I don't think I ever found any bugs that other people didn't find before me. So if I saw a bug post down there that I found, like, I'd go to post a bug, if I even found any. I don't even remember. But I remember... I shouldn't say I don't remember. I remember finding one or two, and I went to go post them, and somebody already posted them, and I was like, yeah, I found it too. So I kind of felt like a failure as a beta tester because I wasn't doing anything, so I was just this uber fanboy that's foaming at the mouth for more Doom.
Well, if you had actually been a part of the team, you would have been playing the levels before they were released to the public, and you probably would have found more. But I actually didn't know until I talked with Snoop Jedi that there were tools built into Doom 3 for QA testing, where if you found a bug, like if you found like a leak in the map or something, you could point your view right at it and hit some combination of buttons, and it would build up a list of points where then the level tester could load that up and basically teleport directly to that thing. I had no idea.
What?
Yeah. So Snoop Jedi signed up to be a beta tester, and he's like, "Hey, I know about all these tools, and let me help you." And then he ended up doing a bunch of other things. But yeah, I had no idea that was there.
Jedi.
Yeah. So how old were you when? So you said you were 38 now?
Yeah, I'm 38. I would have been 21-ish, 21, 22. And I didn't drink or anything at the time, so my free time was spent riding my BMX bike and playing video games. And
nice.
Then classic Doom 3 was in development in the early stages. Like I was full ham on it. I was all over it. And then life kind of got busy, and then I didn't play it again until the final release. There was a couple of releases there where I didn't get around to it, but it was definitely a blessing and a very memorable experience being a part of the early community.
Yeah, I definitely consider you part of the there is there's an Easter egg in Classic Doom 3 that, as far as I know, no one has ever found. No one has brought it up. And when I brought it up to the other guys, they had forgotten. So for like 17 years, I'm like the only person who knows about this. And I bet you're just dying to know what it is.
Yes.
Next time you load up the mod, go right up to one of the barrels and look at the picture where it says flammable.
I can tell you right now that I do not know what this Easter egg is.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to go discover it?
Both. I'm totally going to go play it.
I'm probably building it up too much, but it's the Flaming Sheep logo. I thought, wouldn't that be hilarious if we put the Flaming Sheep logo on the barrel that blows up? And so the guy who does the textures, I was probably just having a conversation with him directly, and he put it on there, and no one else even knew about it. But you see a barrel and you blow it up. No one ever goes up to the things.
Yeah. Well, originally when I first started playing, I started playing Doom just on the keyboard. Like I
think I did too.
I was terrible at it. I couldn't maneuver that well, so like for the first couple of years, I just cheat. I use God mode and just play through the game. And then when I found out that you could actually use the mouse, that's when I started really getting into the game. That's actually when I started getting into custom maps and stuff like that too. But when you go up to a barrel, I mean, you shoot them from a distance because you don't want that barrel there when you're in the middle of a firefight and some zombie grunt ends up shooting it and blows it up in your face, and you have to start over the pistol.
Yep.
So yeah, exactly. That's genius.
So now you know, and now everyone else knows.
Yes.
Yeah, that's man. I just love hearing all of your thoughts, all of your experience on the mod. Like it's been so fun talking to people about it again, because we released version 1.0 and we all sort of went our separate ways. We kind of came together again for a 1.1 release, and then just like Gaz and one other guy did the final release, but for the most part it's just been 17 years where no one talks about it. Like our team, we don't talk about it, we don't reminisce, we just went our separate ways. So it's just really nice hearing about it from you, from your perspective too.
I don't think I even played any of the later I played 1.0, but I think this was the first time that I played 1.3, to be entirely honest. I remember like the fiasco with other people just loading in the Doom mods and then trying to release the shareware version. Mods getting I don't think they quite got a cease and desist, but I know their mods got deleted off of a lot of websites that were just flat out imports of the maps from the original Doom and Doom 2, Plutonia, TNT, and then you had classic Doom 3 where it was recognized that it was something special. It was something different. It wasn't a complete rip of the old game. But they also had to work within the confines of just releasing what was accessible via shareware, and that's something that I will 100% always recognize id Software for, as well as Flaming Sheep, for being able to put out such a fantastic, dare I say even AAA quality product by a small fan-based team.
Yeah, and all over the world. Like there were 3 of us in the United States. Most of the guys were in the UK. There's a guy in Australia that I'm having a really hard time getting a call for, because we're just all over the place. I'm pretty sure someone was in Germany too. But there's so many of the guys we don't even remember all of them, and I can't track them all down. The ones that I do know. But yeah, it's amazing that I agree. It's amazing that we were able to do what we were able to do, and it was before all the modern tools. We didn't have video chat. You know, we were just doing everything over a forum. And the real early days, they didn't even have a forum.
Wasn't there an IRC chat room?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember logging into that and playing games, and then usually alt-tabbing out every once in a while to see what people were talking about.
Oh, it's like early days of Discord.
Mm-hmm. I think multi-monitor was kind of unheard of. At least from a gaming standpoint. Maybe programmers or some other professionals in different industries would use it, but I don't recall a gamer ever using more than one monitor at that point.
Yeah. Well, man, you have given me so much. Like, I couldn't have written questions for you. Like, you came so prepared, and it's so awesome. So awesome. Yeah, right. So, yeah, I'm going to be working with our 17-year-old who has... you liked my post where my 17... They go by they. So that's new for me. But they, Rye, have gotten into making documentaries like the speedrunning history of games. Sort of like Summoning Salt. And they've made 2... basically hour-long videos on one was the history of like a Roblox game that they really like, and then the other is Toy Story 3, the video game. Super well done. Like I'm so blown away, so proud. And so anyway, I'm going to be working with Rye on this documentary, coming up with like a story to tell and a narrative, which I still don't have my head fully wrapped around. I just wanted to do interviews first, and then I figure I'll do the script. But besides the documentary, I am planning on putting up these interviews more or less full, but I will kind of chop here and there. Are you okay with me putting this interview on YouTube?
100%, and I will be watching all of them from start to finish.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, man, it's been so much fun. I'm so glad we finally got a chance to talk.
And thanks for the Dark Zone metal cover.
Oh, dude, you are so welcome. I
still listen to it.
Me too. It's because it's on. I put it on Spotify, and when I load up my songs on Spotify, because I'm a complete vain asshole, I listen to my own stuff. And when that song comes on, I freaking crank it. I swear I've almost blown my my car speakers listening to that song. I'm so glad you had me do that song. And
it's really good industrial
your
metal.
recommendation for having, like, the way I faded the song out, for your recommendation to fade the song in that same way, freaking brilliant. Just brilliant. It made that song. It made it, dude.
Oh, shucks.
So, anyway.
I'm going to be listening to Sign of Evil tonight a few times, methinks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good way to lead this out. I'll have to figure out that lead again. Here's the guitar.
It's just so good. I'm going to be posting this on Twitter. I'm going to do it right now.
Nice.
Those pitch harmonics, they just do it for me.
Yeah. Anyway, dude. Hey, you know what? Did you ever hear the song "See You in Hell" from Grim Reaper?
No.
Oh,
I have not.
dude. It's like the cheesiest of 80s hair metal, and I'm covering it with my old band. Check this out.
It's already catchy.
It's
we love cheese in Wisconsin.
oh hell yeah we do. That's the other thing I totally forgot to mention in this interview. We're both from Wisconsin. We're like 2 hours apart. There's no lyrics in this yet. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun.
It's almost like something I'd hear in a Guilty Gear game.
Yeah. Well, shit, dude. This is too much fun, but I got to get going for dinner.
Roger that.
Can't wait to see what you post
I'm
on.
gonna have another beer and then call it a night.
Hell yeah. So when I stopped the recording, so the way this Riverside thing works, if you look at the top, it says uploading 99%, so it's always uploading. Have you used it? Are you familiar?
No, this is the first time.
Okay, so it used to be if you were recording, it would just record everything local, and when you hit stop, it would upload then. But now, thankfully, they must have had a lot of people lose their recordings. Now it uploads as you go. So when I stop recording, don't close your browser until it goes, yay, finished uploading.
Okay,
cool.
Roger that. Yeah,
awesome. Well, I'm going to stop now. It was awesome talking with you. I'm not going to end the call quite yet, but I'm just going to stop recording. Ladies and gentlemen, AngryKidJoe, Bicycle of Death. Check him out on Twitch, streaming 3 times a week, something like that. I just looked at your schedule.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m.
Awesome.
-6 UTC.
All right. Ending the call.